guys. Welcome back to a special nighttime edition of Chats from the Blog Cabin. I'm joined by my amazing friend. I use amazing a lot lately. Melinda Jackson from Melinda Jackson PR. And we're going to be talking about public relations. But Melinda, before we get into that, tell us a little about yourself.
I don't know why. I was just like, I'm from Irwin, North Carolina. It's like right first thing that popped in my head. But I did grow up in Irwin. I don't currently live there now. I live in Raleigh. But born and raised in Harnett County, went to Campbell University, and now I work in PR and own my own company.
Yeah. So tell us about your journey from owning your own company. I know your journey started out, in LA, right?
Yeah.
Just moved with nothing. So
Oh my God. So it's something that I always forget to talk about. And I've just really started talking about more recently because I'm up on almost 11 years. But so obviously grew up in Irwin, went to Campbell, and I originally wanted to be a high school history teacher because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. And then I was a cheerleader at Campbell, and there were a few girls that were communications majors. So that sounded cool to me because I had wanted to go to film school when I was in high school. So I was like, well, communications is close to film. So changed my major, somehow figured out what PR was. This was around the time that The Hills came out on MTV, and all those girls worked in fashion PR. And I was, I'm a year younger than most of the cast. So I was like, whoa, that's something that I could do. Like, that's really cool. And so I just kept saying, I'm going to move to LA after I graduate. I'm going to move to LA. And so it came time to graduate, and I didn't have all my classes in to graduate. So I had to stay an extra semester, crammed them in to summer school, crammed them into the fall semester. And December came, and I lacked one credit. And I'm like, we got to work it out because I'm moving. I had already waited an extra semester. We're doing this. So my parents told me not to move. I wanted to do it anyway. So I packed up my whole car. I have a Ford Escape at the time. I still do, but a different one. Packed up my car with everything I could, to the point where I went in my mom's laundry room and just filled up a Ziploc bag with laundry detergent because I didn't know if I was going to have any money. The day after Christmas, had gift cards, one paycheck. Literally, I had $500, and I drove across country and moved to LA. I had found someone that I could share a room with. At the time, I didn't think it was weird because I was just out of college. But now, as an adult, at 33, I think that's weird. But I didn't have a bed. I slept on the floor. She charged me $500 a month for rent, which I ended up later finding out that covered her rent. But that's another story for another day. And I just hustled. I didn't have a job. I hit the ground running. I did 3 internships at once. I was a tray passer. I worked at a restaurant as a hostess. I coached cheerleading at a high school in the Valley. I did everything I could just to earn money to survive. I was doing temp jobs and things like that. And just getting as much experience as I could. And then about almost a year in, I finally got a full-time job. And I stayed at that job for about almost 6 years. It was a little over 5 years I stayed there. But it was awesome. My specialty was music PR. Of course, I got to do all kinds of other things. A lot of red carpets. I pretty much did at least one red carpet a week, be it through my firm, other firms that I helped out with, because I had a lot of friends that worked at different firms. So I would volunteer or just do side stuff. But I gained a lot of experience. And then I finally decided that it was time to move on and go to a different firm. So I finally got a job at my dream firm. It wasn't my dream position, but it was an in at the firm. And it ended up being the worst 6 months of my life. It was horrible. And I can say that now because I've later found out that my superior is no longer with the company. But it just wasn't a good fit. And I think she had some stuff going on in her life, and I did too, and it was not a good fit. And so it was a mutual decision between me and the company that I would leave. They were very supportive. They were great. They kept me on the insurance for the month, and they were really great. But I pretty much decided at that moment that I was moving back to North Carolina. So that was August 1st, 4 years ago, and moved back to North Carolina, Labor Day weekend 4 years ago, and started a job at an advertising agency, who I met you through, where I was a PR and social media coordinator, director, whatever kind of title you want to say. And then about 2 years in, I really realized like there's so much more that I can do on my own. So here we are. And that was a very long-winded story.
No, you're good. You actually told her. You hit a lot of spots because honestly, yeah, I was going to say, yeah, that's where I met you, was at the PR firm, is at a trip to Fayetteville when you had the Raleigh bloggers come down. That's when I officially met you face to face. I mean, I call you and we kind of, like we're in groups together, but not face to face. So that was pretty awesome. But tell me, what is your journey? I know you were talking a lot of people that follow you know that a lot of the environments that you're working in were toxic.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's not necessarily unheard of in advertising, marketing, any kind of agency life, even in tech companies, big companies like that. It's high stakes, high energy, a lot of stress, and it can turn toxic very easily. And so I've had, I've had a lot of weird things happen, and I've realized that I pretty much burned out twice. Like my body shut down twice. I'm already an anxious person. I've had anxiety since I was in elementary school. I've suffered from depression. So that's already just in me. My chemicals are not balanced. And then when I get into those situations like that, it's very hard for me to process. So, when I kind of decided I needed to leave LA and leave these huge firms that I was at, I was going into the office 7:00 in the morning, leaving at 8, 9, 10 at night. I was the last person in the whole building, and I worked in a massive complex, and like security was kicking me out at night, and saying like, if you don't leave now, you're going to get locked in here. And then going home and working for more hours. And then that turns into not sleeping, and that turns into not eating. And then you're making the mistakes and you're getting in trouble because your brain physically does not have the capacity to process anything that's going on. So at the time, I didn't realize what I needed to be doing. But now I do have those tools after going through the exact same thing twice. I have the tools. So if that comes up again, I know how to get out of it. I know how to be aware. But it's hard. It's really hard, especially when you feel like you have to prove something and are just trying your best to make a name for yourself.
Yeah, that's true. And so do you think now, like if you ever have a huge enough PR firm where you have actual employees, that you have to pay a paycheck, do you think you're gonna be able to resonate and transfer some of your experiences so that your employees don't experience the same things that you went through?
Yeah, I really hope so. And that's something I think about all the time, because I know I have a big personality, and I know that, I can be a leader, but I also need to check myself and make sure everyone else is okay. Throughout my journey as an entrepreneur, I've had a lot of interns along the way, and I'm probably way too lax on them, and I'm way too easygoing on it. But I always, all my interns, I pay $10 an hour. And I do that because I didn't get paid anything for my internships, and I had a college degree, and I was working full time at some of them, and so I just really want to treat people how I wasn't treated, but like in a better way. So I hope that I'll be able to, give my future employees a really great positive environment. And I think I will, but then I also hope that I have them checking me and coming to me and saying, hey, you're not doing this correctly. Like this is how I feel. I really want to have like an open and honest, conversation with my future employees, but I hope.
Do you think that you will have like mental health days or mental health retreats?
Oh yeah. That? Yeah. And, like that I'm big on that, but, and people that don't follow me may not know that, but, I am so big on that kind of stuff. I'm so big on being open and honest and having a therapist. You know, I've worked places where I said, I have to go to therapy today. And they're like, what? Why? I've worked places where they told me I wasn't really depressed. Or they said, do you have a doctor's note for that? And I'm like, you can't ask me that. That's illegal. You know, you're not allowed to do that. Or are you really on medication? You know, things like that. But I definitely encourage anybody, if you're feeling anything like that, to find somebody to talk to. And I would encourage my future employees to do that. And I think now the world kind of realizes we all have to work from home and things like that. But that is something that I want to instill in my employees one day, because I know you don't have to be in the office. And I know I can work for 3 hours and get everything done for the day. Mm-hmm. And then I'm sitting there wasting time. Like, that's stupid when I could be doing so much other stuff. So I think I'm going to be a very lax boss on people, but still hold them to very high standards. And then do a lot of woo-woo meditations and all that fun stuff.
Now, we've heard all these awful things about COVID, but you've actually kind of flourished during COVID. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I wrote a blog post about it the other day, and I felt weird doing it. But I just kind of felt like I needed to, because during COVID, I lost a lot of my clients. I lost pretty much all of my clients that I had prior. So I don't have any of my clients right now that I had in February. It's all new across the board. And I have 10 clients right now. So it's a lot. But I just feel that I kind of jumped on it very quickly and saw people that needed that extra help, that needed help pivoting. And so I was there to say, okay, well, let's figure out a way to make you a thought leader right now. Mm-hmm. Let's figure out things you can talk to, and we're going to pitch it. And since so many people were scared and didn't know what was going on, all these news outlets wanted people to talk about things. And even some of my clients that have nothing to do with COVID, they were getting opportunities because the media didn't want to talk about COVID anymore. Mm-hmm. So I was able to thrive during that time because I was getting my clients things. And I was just seeing the opportunities and picking up on that stuff and really helping people pivot. So I'm very fortunate in that, very lucky, but I also worked really hard, and I recognized, like, okay, all my clients are dropping me because they don't have the budget. You know, I'm an extra expense. I'm not a necessity. I got to figure out something. And thankfully, you know, people came to me that recognized that they needed a little help. People were referred to me, which was amazing. And I'm always so thankful for that. And then I hopped on things like Fiverr. And Fiverr, do you know what Fiverr is? Some people don't.
Yeah.
Okay. So in case people don't know, like, if you needed graphic designer, you can hop on Fiverr and see all these different graphic designers and just get somebody to do this project for you. So somebody in one of my Facebook groups was a representative for Fiverr Pro. I was one of the first publicists on Fiverr Pro, which they really vetted me. They made me send in all this verification stuff, but I hopped on Fiverr and I'm writing press releases for people for $300, $400, or $500, stuff I don't know anything about, but they give me the information. I know how to write a press release. I do it. I knock it out. I make a media list for them or help them do whatever. And that took me an hour, but I made $500. So that really supplemented for me and made it so I didn't have to necessarily, apply for the PPP loan or small business loans or any of that kind of, or unemployment or anything, which for me, it's hard anyway, because I own my own business. So there's so much red tape and I don't have employees. So I'm very thankful that I've been able to grow my business during this time. Literally my income and my client list have doubled, and I'm so thankful, so blessed. But I also realized that I've worked really hard, and I didn't settle during this time at all. I didn't just sit back and wait for, me to get a PPP loan or whatever else.
Yeah. I think a lot of people think COVID has changed them, and they've only started thinking about what's the worst thing that could happen, instead of, hey, this is the time for me to reevaluate. Because actually Chats from the Blog Cabin came out during COVID. I mean, I was in a challenge, and I just started it, and I just loved it so much. And I was like, there's a need for this.
Yeah. And you've been able to I mean, you created a new avenue for your blog, but also you've been able to just bring so many people on and create a platform for other people. So that's so great. And that's so needed. And those are the kinds of COVID success stories. And it's unfortunate because there are people that are just like, I'm just going to wait until things open back up, but you can't do that. And I do know that that's why I've been successful, because I'm like, let's figure it out. And I think that kind of shows like just my skill set in general as a publicist, because you're not going to be a good publicist unless you are that agile and you're like, okay, let's figure it out. Let's get ready. Let's do something else, because things change all the time.
I would have never thought to advertise services on Fiverr, though, especially publicists. I would have never thought about that.
Yeah. Hey, Linda. Linda's on here. She's my name twin almost.
So let's talk about why people need PR. Why do they need public relations?
Okay. Well, first, I'll say what PR actually is, because no one ever knows what it is. So PR at its essence, what I say, it's outward facing. It's organic and outward facing. So you have advertising, you have marketing that's very planned, that's very strategic. That's a billboard. That's an ad in hard copy newspaper, whatever. It's a brochure. PR is that organic mention in a magazine or article, or influencer relations, getting somebody to talk about your product, your brand, or whatever. That's PR. So essentially what I do all day for my clients is I identify media and opportunities that would be good for them. And sometimes it's not necessarily media opportunities or influencer relations. It's community relations and things like that. Any of that outward facing stuff. I'm sitting there all day and I'm like, okay, this is what my client does. Here's 3 publications that I can go out to, and here's what I can go to them for. And here's an organization that would be great if they aligned with, and let's figure out some kind of cross promotion. Here's an influencer that they could collaborate with and cross promote things. So that's literally what I do all day, every day. I also say I get paid to get rejected for other people every day, because it happens a lot. But the original question was, why do people need PR? It's really just to get your message out there, truly, and to help people see like what you really are. And you'll recognize, you think that people know what your business is, but half the time they don't. So that's what I'm here to do.
So kind of just recognize their strengths and their weaknesses as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So before we head on to another question, I need to do a quick commercial. We talked about this earlier.
Yay.
Here's the quick commercial.
Hey y'all, welcome to Summer Sunflower Fields at Odom Farming Company. We'd love for you to come visit with us. We're open Tuesday through Thursday and Sunday from 4 to 8 and Friday and Saturday from 4 to 9. $5 admission includes a visit with the pasture gang, the playground, the beautiful fields, and 3 flowers to carry home. So come see us at 1426 Claridge Nursery Road, Goldsboro. Check out our website, odomfarmingcompany.com, or follow us on social media. We sure hope to see you soon.
And this is the sunflowers until the fall. So
yeah, go get those sunflowers, get those pictures.
Yeah. So now people, let's say, for instance, let's just say, I'm just going to use myself, for instance. Mm-hmm. What if, let's say, if I wanted to hire you, what is the budget? Do you do it by project based? Do you do it monthly? Do you do yearly?
PR is a monthly retainer. I'm not going to say how much it is because it's scary, but PR is a monthly retainer generally. And I sign people for a 3-month contract because I feel that, and pretty much every publicist says this across the board, you aren't really going to see a ton of movement until 3 months in. So the first month is really getting everything together, getting those media pickups, a few small media pickups. Second month, it builds. Third month, you're really starting to see stuff, especially things that you pitched or coordinated the first month, especially because magazines have a 3-month lead time a lot of the times, which now print is pretty much dead. So it's different, but still you have that 3-month lead time. So I do 3-month contract. then we figure it out from there. At the 3 months, we figure out, okay, do we need to up the budget? Are there other things we need to focus on? What's the game plan from here? And then we kind of go from there. I do project-based things because some people just don't need 3 months. Say it's a store opening, it's a brand launch, something like that. They don't have a ton of budget, but they do have some that they can spend towards it. I do just project specific as well.
So just give us some ideas of some of the clients that you've worked with, some of your clients. You can your current clients right now. Give them some.
Yeah. So I literally have a huge, behind my computer, I have a big whiteboard and I have all my clients and all the things. So one of my amazing clients is Cole Baker Bagwell. She owns Cool Audrey, and Cool Audrey is a consultancy that basically Cole goes into huge tech firms, banks, things like that. And she works with their staff and tries to figure out how they can incorporate more mindfulness and kindness into their culture. And it's really amazing. It's really transformational. You know, I'm all about that kind of stuff. And it's really great because she kind of distills it down and shows them how, you know, just doing these mindfulness breaks and focusing on kindness and things like that help them increase their sales. Because she does have a sales and tech background, so she gets it. She's been in their shoes. I also have an amazing company. It's 2 teen boys out of Raleigh. They launched a mask company called Copper Safe Masks. And they launched it in April. By July, by May, they had completely sold out and were on a waiting list. And then by July, they were able to donate $25,000 to WakeMed, which was really amazing. And now they just launched last weekend Red Tractor masks, which are bamboo masks. They're very similar to the Copper Safe mask. It's just different material, and they go around your neck. So it's great for kids because you can just pull them up. And they're also in kids sizes. So it's not pulling on their ears, and kids can just kind of wear it. And they, you know, as they go into school or go into the store or whatever, they can pull them up. And these teens, they're like killing it. They're sourcing the masks to all these different companies and schools and organizations. We're doing a huge collaboration with WakeMed. They just handed out 250 masks at the state farmers market this weekend. They're just killing it. They're amazing. They're going to take over the world, these boys, but it's really cool to see. And then I have Mir Garvey, who is a resume and job search expert. She's like so cool and has such great insight for people. And that's so needed right now as people aren't, they're out of work and they're looking for jobs and things like that. Who else do I have? I have a couple of bands, which you know this, but other people may not know. I said it earlier. Music PR. I think I said it earlier. Music PR is like my favorite thing to do. I did it in LA for a very long time. I have a Grammy. It's very exciting. It's over there under my coffee table that I don't have framed yet. I haven't framed it for 7 years. But I love music, and a couple of bands out of Tennessee. There's a new guy, Jordan, out of St. Louis I'm about to start working with. So you guys can find that all at my Instagram. I'll be posting those at my Melinda Jackson PR Instagram. But doing a lot, working hard, hardly working, you know, all that stuff.
So tell us a typical day for someone in public relations.
Well, right now it's different, but generally, any publicist I know is probably waking up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, automatically checking their emails. I get up, I like to do meditation before I start working, and I get my journaling in. I get any of my like woo-woo spiritual work in. I have a manifestation journal I write in and write out all the things I'm trying to call in and manifest, which right now is a Range Rover. I'm very excited about that goal. Yeah, so general day in PR starts at 9 o'clock. It's really just emailing, going through your to-do list of who you're pitching that day. It's a lot of writing out pitches for your clients, talking to your clients, giving them updates, researching journalists that you can be working with, new journalists, especially right now, it's really hard because so many people have been laid off. So I'd say like 20% of the people I'm reaching out to, I'm getting either vacation messages or they don't work here anymore messages. So just really having to go back and say, okay, well, who actually does work there and who's covering this right now? That takes a lot of time. And just a lot of chatting with your clients, honestly, to figure out what they're doing. Is what they're doing media worthy right now? Is there something else you could be pitching? A lot of creativity for sure as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much glued to my computer at all times during the day.
Either computer or iPhone, like
yes. And so thankfully my clients know I go on granny walks every day. And so they'll call me and it'll be like 10 o'clock. I normally, since I get up so early, I'll do a bunch of emails, and then 10 or 11 o'clock, I go and do some kind of a workout. Even if it's just walking at the park, and then I come back and finish working. But my clients know if they call me during like 10, 11, I'm going to be on my granny walk. I'll answer, but I'm just going to be huffing and puffing, and I may have to mute them at some points or mute myself at some points, but
that's all about mindfulness and mental health.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody's good about it. Like, they get it, especially right now. And I think, it's been really hard for me as an entrepreneur to figure out I don't have to be glued to my desk from 9 to 6 every day, because PR hours are normally until 6. And when I worked in Los Angeles, it was great that I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning because New York was just starting. So I was already getting emails and all that stuff. But it's taken me 2 years to figure out, I can get all my work done in 3 hours sometimes. And it's okay if I don't look at my computer anymore because I have my phone. And if somebody needs me, they'll call me, they'll email me, they'll text me. I'm still on, even though I'm not sitting at a desk.
Yeah. So that must have been a hard transition. So tell us about the transition from working for someone else to working for yourself, and basically having to be accountable to yourself for everything. Like if something breaks, you've got to replace it.
Yeah. It was kind of easier for me, honestly, because I think, and I've kind of found this across the board, a lot of the times you're answering to people who aren't talking to the clients every day. They just sign the clients and they maybe never had anything to do with them ever again, but they're talking to you every day. Your bosses are talking to you saying, hey, we should do this on that client. And I'm the one talking to the client all day saying, nope, that's not how this works. That's not what they need. I'm telling you, you've got to trust me on that. Like, we can't do that. So I don't have to be the middle person anymore. I am just the person. So that's been really great for me. A lot of to-do lists, a lot of notebooks. I have like 4 notebooks that I keep. Like I said, I have my whiteboard so I can remember, okay, here's all the clients, here's all the things, here's what I need to follow up with. I've had to be super organized because I don't have those weekly team meetings anymore or daily team meetings anymore. It's just me. And sometimes when I have an intern, I'm like, can you just get on the phone with me so I can just go through all this? I know you don't know what any of this is, but just listen to me talk for like an hour. So that's helped. But I think now, 2 years in, I'm in a pretty good groove. But at the beginning, it was hard. And like I said, I kind of felt guilty for not being at my desk or like going to the grocery store in the middle of the day or having an appointment. I kind of felt guilty about that. And now I'm like, nobody cares. As long as I'm getting it done, nobody cares.
That's so true. Now, did you feel like a loss of security maybe when you decided to step out on your own? Because you were like, it's like all of a sudden you were just like on your own.
Yeah.
What if nobody hires me? What if, this what if questions?
No, because I am a psycho person. I mean, I'm the person that moved to LA with no money and was like, it's fine, it'll work. And that's not me. I'm not a fly by the seat of my pants person whatsoever. I'm very calculated. I like to plan and all that stuff. And if I am fly by the seat of my pants, I am because I know that it's going to be okay. I think this is where like my intuition really kicked in and I'm like, nope, it's going to happen. I physically can't work for anybody else any longer. My body was shutting down. I knew it. And again, that's intuition. That's God, that's the universe, whoever telling you like something's wrong. You gotta step out. And at that point I had hit my almost 10 years in PR. And I'd always said, when I'm 10 years in PR, I want to have my own firm. So it was literally that manifested. But, Yeah, wait, what were we saying? Anyway, what was your question?
Stepping out.
Yeah.
Were you scared when you
Oh
stepped
yeah, no, yeah, okay, no, because I knew it needed to happen. No, because I realized I had been calling this in, and it's exactly what needed to happen, and I knew that I would be a bigger benefit for my clients if I did that. I did have 1 to 2 very small freelance clients before I ever left. My firm knew that. It was nothing that was a direct competition, and it wasn't enough money for them to even bat an eye at, because it just wasn't anything. So I did have that. And I did still work with my company for a little bit. So I freelanced with them. So that helped me transition. But yeah, bold moves by a bold woman. That's me. But yeah, I just knew it. I just knew I had to do it. And like when COVID happened, I wasn't afraid. I'm like, no, it's fine, whatever. Because I know that there are things or resources, whatever. If I have to be homeless tomorrow, like I can go stay with my mom. If I have to be homeless, I can go stay with a friend or something like that. Like I just know I'm going to be taken care of because I'm doing the right thing, which I realize is not what anybody else would say. But it's truly like having faith in yourself and the universe and God that you're going to be taken care of.
And for you to actually go through all, like you said, all the anxiety that you had working for someone else, and now working for yourself, you don't have that anxiety.
Oh no. Like I was thinking about this the other day. I have not had a panic attack in over a year. I haven't woken up freaking out about anything. The last couple months I was in my previous position, I had to get on depression medication for the first time in my life because I'm like, I physically can't function. And so I was in a very bad place. And I got this, like, I got off of that. When my doctor, we weaned myself off of it a couple months after I had started my company, just to make sure I was still good. And I haven't been on anything in over a year, and I haven't needed it. And I know that I have the tools that if anxiety starts creeping in, depression, whatever, I know what to do, be it holistic things that work for me, or just, stopping, breathing, making a list, talking to someone, calling my therapist, whoever.
Now let's talk about transitioning from, like, you work from home.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you keep it work and home separate and the cutoff?
Yeah, it's hard. It's so hard. And like, I mean, you have like your blog cabin, so you can go out there. I don't have that. I just got a desk. I've been in this apartment 4 years. I just got a desk because I was like, I can't keep doing this. For a while, I was just like working in my bed and, sleeping till whatever and doing whatever I wanted. And I think I needed that when I first started because my adrenal system was freaking out and I just needed that. But then I started working at my table, and then I realized I can't do this because my computer's always here. And then I sit and I eat in front of my computer, or I eat at my couch. And then if I'm on my couch on my laptop, I'm also watching TV, and it was just too much stuff. So that's been hard. And for a while when the world was open, I would go and just like sit at a coffee shop and work, or I have friends that have spaces that we work and go work there, or just wherever I could go work to get out of my house. My apartment has a business center that's really great. I can go work out of. But now I don't move my laptop from my desk unless I'm just like on the couch and I need to like look up something that's not work related. But I keep my laptop at my desk. I don't open it on the weekends unless I have to. On the weekend, I will maybe write like my to-do list for the week just to kind of keep myself organized. But otherwise, I try not to do any of it. And I think I'm definitely getting better about that for sure.
So how important is it for you to make lists of things that you have to do?
Oh, I have to do it. Like I said, I have like 3 notebooks. Like I have one notebook here. There's another one in my drawer. I have my whiteboard. I have to do it and just tick it off, or else I'm going to forget everything, especially because I have so many clients and they all have different needs and they all started at different times. And like, I won't invoice anybody if I don't write it in my calendar, because then I'll just like realize I don't have any money, I'm like, oh, I haven't even sent anybody an invoice. Like, what is this? So I have to write everything down.
So, with handling all those clients, how do you keep them straight?
Well, they're all different, so that's good. There's not really any overlap, and even like the music clients, there's not really any overlap, and they all are doing different things at different times, so that's good. And then there are some clients that I can kind of piggyback. So I'll pitch one client and I secure them that interview, and I'm like, hey, thanks for that. Do you also want this client? So that definitely helps, but sometimes it's hard. But again, keeping lists really help. And I'm a 0 inbox person. I have 3 messages in my inbox right now. So everything else is in folders. So being as organized as possible really does help me keep everybody straight, because otherwise it would be a mess, a complete mess.
So let's talk about, you said you have 10 clients currently, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you set a certain time for each client? Like, you work an hour a day on this client, or do you just kind of lump them together? Or
Yeah. So realistically, I try to spend 1 hour a day on each client. That's kind of how I justify my like fees and things like that. And I don't really track my hours with them, but I kind of break it down of like, hey, this is how much it would cost if I only spent 1 hour on you a day. So that's 5 hours on you a week, that kind of thing. So that helps them keep track of everything. But it's also one of those things where it's emails. So an email doesn't take me an hour. And so I can do so many different things at once, but I do try to make sure I'm at least pitching or following up or researching for each of my clients all day or every single day.
so you don't set a certain amount of time to say, okay, this hour I'm focusing on such and such client. Next hour I'll focus on such and such client.
Not necessarily. Sometimes I need to. If I need to, I will, but not like every day. I kind of have it in. I make sure, like on my to-do list every day, I write out each of my clients' names and I write what my to-do for that client is every day. And that's kind of my barometer. But again, like I said, if I sat there, sometimes they don't need an hour's worth of things, just truly. And so it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, am I just going to sit here and stare at my computer and be like, time's up, So there's just like so much that I can get done so quickly all at once.
Yeah. So basically it's as a need basis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
but again, like I said, in theory, yes, I'm spending an hour per client each day, but I'm not necessarily timing it. But each client is getting some kind of love that day, some kind of attention.
It just depends on which project is bigger and taking your time, which one's the most prominent in the thing and the most timely that you have to get out.
Yeah. Because some clients, like one client may need a press release that day and it may take me an hour to write that. But then another client, I just have to follow up with somebody. So that's not going to take the same amount of time, but I could follow up and immediately secure that interview and get it done in 10 minutes, all like scheduled and everything in 10 minutes. So that's not a full hour that it's necessarily going to take me, but it's still super beneficial as if I spent an hour on it.
Now, let's say somebody hired you to do like a grand opening or something like that. How many hours normally go into that?
Oh God. It depends, but I think I figured out that it's probably about 5 to 10 hours, just depending, because that's going to take writing a press release, making sure it's on all the calendars, making sure I get the press release or the announcement or whatever out to everybody that needs it. Then do I have to invite people? If I do, okay, well, we got to write an invite. I got to email everybody. I got to coordinate the RSVPs. I got to make sure that there's going to be media at it. So it's just a couple of different things, but yeah, anywhere from 5 to 10 hours. But again, my 5 hours are going to be different than somebody else's because of my experience and my contacts and all that stuff.
So have you ever had one where you had to coordinate like a party that goes through the opening? Like catering and things like that?
I used to have to do that a lot in LA, not as much here now, but like we used to produce so many events in LA, like big celebrity events. We had a charity that we did PR for, and like Mel Gibson and Gene Simmons were the two main celebrity like faces for the charity. Both amazing guys, really great. Been to both their houses, nice dudes. But like with that, we were like coordinating the red carpet and all the media for it. And the charity, they had some party planning, but like things, but we would be there to supplement. So I've had to do all that. And then there's some clients that I've had where we had to do literally everything from the ground up. So it's like, okay, got to find a photo booth person, got to find a caterer. Okay, who's a bartender? How's that all going to work? Do we have a liquor license? You know, all that stuff. I don't like doing that kind of thing. Or like there's some of the logistics I don't want to deal with. But I don't mind getting a photo booth. But when it comes down to like pulling permits and stuff, somebody else can do that. That's not my wheelhouse.
It's like intern.
I know. I'm like, yeah, can you just like call the city and like figure this out and like do a thing?
That's so funny. So tell me, why should people hire now PR? Why should they hire you especially?
Oh, well, one, I'm the best. And I'm not a very confident person, but I will tell you I am one of the best. And that's because I work hard and I'm creative, and I think my work speaks for itself. And I just care about people. I'm a client first person. And I see myself as an extension of their team. And, you know, if you're winning, I'm winning. So why am I not going to try my hardest to, you know, get you all the exposure that I can get you? So that's a huge thing. And I'm fun. Yeah, I'm fun. But no, I think first off, everyone doesn't need PR. I think a lot of people think that they need PR, but everyone doesn't. But I think that, you know, if there's a company, client, I don't know why I said client, a company, person, band, whatever, or brand that they really feel like their message isn't getting out there and that they could benefit from it, and they do have something that's newsworthy and that people really would connect with, I think that's when they need PR.
Now, what would you say about being a woman in PR and being a woman self-owned PR?
Well, PR is a pretty female-dominated industry, thankfully already. I think like corporate PR is kind of like male-centric, but in entertainment PR, I hardly knew any guys that were in it. There were a couple of guys, but it was mostly all women. All the firms I worked at my departments were always all women. But like, especially you're trying to work in the music industry and you're sitting there with these record executives and they just see you as some little girl with a Southern accent, you know, you gotta show them, you know, your stuff. So that was kind of hard, but I think it's like that across the board too. No matter what industry you're in. But some of that is changing, thankfully. Owning my own business, I think people don't necessarily take me as seriously. Too, sometimes I think my personality does kind of hurt me because I am so crazy and fun and like loud and stuff. Because I'll go to like PR conferences or business conferences where I'm a speaker and people are like, what? Who is this girl? And I'm like, look, here's everything. Here's what you're doing wrong. So that can be kind of polarizing sometimes, but I think it helps in the long run. But people have been really supportive of me and just really great. I feel like I haven't faced a ton of adversity in these 2 years, so I'm very thankful for that. But I think being in entertainment as long as I did kind of gave me thick skin about some of that stuff.
So do you think going to LA made you a better publicist now that you
Absolutely. And it's funny because when I moved back, like I couldn't get anybody to give me a call back when I was trying to get a job. Like literally the only firm that called me back is the firm that I worked at, which is crazy because I worked at a big firm in LA and all this stuff. But completely different landscapes. You know, that's very entertainment centric, and through entertainment, I got to work with a lot of brands and I had all kinds of clients. In Raleigh, in North Carolina, it's way more corporate. And so those people are way more serious. It's everything is a press release. Well, I hate writing a press release. I don't want to send a press release out unless I have to. If it's super corporate, sure, I'll send it out. But like for Joe Blow, like I don't want to do that. So it's very different. But I think that my time in LA made me really creative and helped me figure out, okay, let's pivot. How can we be quick on our feet and just figure out the best things for our clients instead of living and dying by a press release like so many of these people do.
Is there anything that you, looking back, you regret that you didn't either do sooner or that you regret you didn't do?
Oh, good question. I regret that I didn't try to grow my career more when I was in LA. I had a lot of opportunities, but the loyalty was a big thing for me. And, I had my parents telling me, no, it's fine where you're at. Like, just stay there. Because their generation, my dad worked at the same company his entire life and retired there. So, I had that in my ear and then tell me, oh, they'll give you a raise if they want to, when I realized like, oh no, the company actually didn't have money. Like I should have left and I should have taken jobs at these record companies that were like, hey, Melinda, we'd love to have you on our team. I truly believe I could be like a VP at some huge firm or record label right now in PR had I done that, but I just didn't know any better. But, everything happens for a reason. I'm very glad to be where I am, and I'm glad that I can be helping so many different people right now. And hindsight's 2020.
So what's next for Melinda Jackson PR?
Hopefully keeping on growing the client base. And I really want to transition more into music. Like I still love the clients that I have that aren't music, but that is an avenue that I really want to try to focus more on. Obviously grow my team when I can. I would love to have an assistant just to kind of help with pitching and some other things, and just have somebody that I can mentor and teach all the things that I had to teach myself. So yeah, we'll see. But at some point I would love to be back coastal and have an LA presence again as well.
So are you calling it out how many years?
How many years until LA?
Yeah, until
I think
LA.
at least like 1 to 2. I think I could do it, but 1 to 2. I do miss LA. I don't know if I would live there full time, but it is something where I've kind of always said I would love to be in both places because North Carolina is obviously home. And I do love my clients, and I think I'm doing a lot of great work for a lot of great people, but I do kind of miss being a part of something bigger for sure. And like, if even just selfishly, just knowing celeb gossip before it hits a blog or whatever, I love that. I love like reading these blind items. I'm like, oh, I know that's not true. I know who he's dating or whatever. So yeah, but that's definitely the goal. Be bi-coastal. I would love to at some point just be able to go and like spend a month in London and just like work in London and I have the ability to do that because all I need is my computer. So
wow, I love that. Have laptop, we'll go.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why not? I'm single. I don't have kids. Like, who cares,
So tell me, before we wrap it up, tell me one thing unusual about yourself.
Oh my God, there's so much. I feel like, oh, I'm like this normal person. And then I'll tell my friends stuff and they're like, what? What's an unusual thing? I don't know. What do you think is an unusual thing?
You know
I don't know. It's hard. Oh my God. Well, like I'm left-handed. That's not unusual. That's just a thing. I don't know. This is hard because I feel like I'm such an open book. I just like tell everybody all my stuff anyway. But I am.
Or maybe one unusual story in your PR career.
Oh God. Oh, I have so many.
Because I know you were stories the other day on Instagram. I don't know if it was your private Instagram or your.
It's probably my private. But what was I saying?
You were asking people just to throw out some.
Oh, to ask me about stories. Yeah. Oh God. Like I have so many weird celeb stories, and my whole thing was like, I never cared about like the huge celebrities. I cared about the people that were on like 2 episodes of Friday Night Lights, and then I would see them like, oh my God, it's another person, and my friends were like, who? What is this thing? But yeah, for a long time, I was really good about like meeting a celebrity and getting them to follow me on Twitter. I like am really good about that somehow. That like celebrities and famous people or famous people adjacent think I'm cool on the internet, and so they follow me. So that's fun. That's not like a weird thing. But God, I have so many just weird LA stories that I need to write a book about. I need to find my journals and just read them because it was always something, always something. I'm trying to think. Oh, go ahead.
I will say, you do travel a lot to see certain band members.
Oh, like Harry Styles or Foo Fighters?
Harry Styles, and what you saw Liam Payne too? Was it Liam?
Did I say no? I saw Niall.
No.
So my friend, okay, I didn't know who One Direction was like a year ago. I mean, I knew that they were a thing, but like I went back and looked at my tweets, and I'm like making fun of them or whatever. And then randomly last summer, I was on a flight back from New Orleans, and I thought that I feel like I remember that Harry Styles guy album being good, like a year ago. I looked it up. It came out 2 years ago. And then I started listening to it. I'm like, wait, I love him. So it's so funny because like, it was just a joke that like, oh, I love him, you know, cause One Direction fans, whatever. I'm like, oh, I love Harry Styles. And go to visit my friend Lindsay, who you've met in the UK. And she had a Harry Styles cardboard cutout for me. And it was just this whole thing. But then I was like, okay, I want to see him live. And the next show was his show in LA. It was the night his album came out. And I had a friend who helped me get on a list with the venue. It sold out. I couldn't buy a ticket. And so again, connections, I got on the list with the venue, roll up to the venue, had like seats in a VIP area. And I mean, I wasn't like super VIP, but it was like nice seats. And had like an amazing night with my friend, got to see him play the album live for the first time ever. And it was really fun. And it was my first time back in LA since I moved. So I was like pretty grateful for that. And it was a whole full circle moment. And then 2 days later, I come home and drive to DC because my friend is on Niall's team and Louis Capaldi's team, and I love them both. And so I got to see them both. So I got to meet Louis Capaldi, which was a whole thing. But yeah, somehow I became a directioner. And so I'm manifesting from my mouth to God's ears. I'm manifesting a spot on Harry's team because I know we'd be best friends forever.
I actually could see you guys kind of working together because of being quirky and just.
Oh yeah. Me and Harold. Well, I mean, he does have a song called Carolina, and it's about a girl she's from South Carolina, but you know, we can say North Carolina, and she moves to LA. So it's a whole thing. It could be me, Harry. It could be me.
So who would be your dream client besides Harry Styles? Because obviously you just
Harry Styles or Foo Fighters, because they're also my favorite band, and I've infiltrated my way into their world, and I know some of the members now, and they're great to me. But yeah, I mean, I love working in music. I think it's so fun because I would see firsthand doing tour press for my clients, and I would get the numbers, the sales numbers, and see, okay, well, we're only at 10% sold, and the show is in 2 weeks, and then getting 1 to 2 press hits and a calendar listing, and then the show sells out. So I could see my direct impact on these things, and then kind of like the science behind it or like math behind it was really cool. But that was huge for me. And then helping somebody win a Grammy was amazing. And I mean, I just love music so much anyway. And I know like an ungodly amount of random stuff. It doesn't even matter about like recording and producing, and even just down to like, okay, here's what goes in a guitar, and like here's amps, and like you have this amp, this is a pedal board you need to use, and just weird musical stuff that no one cares about that I just do, and I just love it. It lights me up. music just makes me so happy. So any kind of like huge artist, I would love to kind of work with.
Okay, that's awesome.
It's gonna happen.
Yep.
I'm manifesting it
Gonna
from my
You are really good
manifestation
about-
notebook.
You're really good about manifesting stuff. I will say that because
I know.
ask you questions about manifesting.
My number one thing I tell people when they don't know how to manifest or they want to manifest, which, oh God, I could talk about this forever, do the 33 by 3 or 55 by 5. So essentially you have a mantra and you're just say, like your mantra could be, I am driving a Range Rover. I am driving a Range Rover. I am driving a Range Rover. And you write it 55 times or 33 times, whichever one you want to do, for 3 days straight or 5 days straight. And you just write it out, because it's getting in your brain. It's getting in your brain. Mm-hmm. And just also, like, there's just so many things you can do. There's so many things. And I just love it. Even just like writing out a list of like, hey, here's what I want my dream house to be. Like I did that the other night. And then, you know, one day you'll go back and look and you're like, oh my God, even if you forget about it, it's just getting it down and getting that in your subconscious.
Yeah. I'm going to share a real quick story. My guest on Friday was Nikki Koziarz, and I had actually put her on my vision board to share a stage with her, not realizing it was my stage. And
that's amazing.
And she came on Friday. So I was like, oh my gosh, you know, so yeah. So it works, guys. It really works.
It does. And I think people get freaked out because they're like, what is this witch stuff? It's not that. It's not that at all. I mean, like, it's literally like a prayer. You're just writing it out. And it's just this commitment to yourself and God or whatever. I mean, how is it any different than praying for something? It's not. And there's so much science behind actually writing it out and seeing it. It's just like the vision board and just knowing it every single day. Like there's an exercise I do. This lady, Lacey Phillips, her work is called To Be Magnetic, and I do all of her manifestation work. But she helps you figure out what your authentic code is. And so my authentic code I have over here on my whiteboard, and my 4 are travel, wellness, being seen, and luxury. And if an opportunity comes up and it's not these, then I'm not doing it. If it doesn't light me up, I'm not doing it. If I'm kind of worried about something and on the fence, if it doesn't check any of these, I'm not doing it. And so, like, obviously travel, that's a given. Wellness, that's a given. This right now is being seen. This is helping me being seen. And I know that if I'm seen, I can help other people. So it doesn't come from like an ego place. It comes from I know I have something good to give. And then luxury for me, that's not necessarily like super fancy things. That's more so the security of like, okay, I have the money to pay for this. Mm-hmm. I can treat myself. Here's how I feel when I'm able to do that. So yeah, it's my authentic code.
I love that. So Melinda, tell people where we can find you at.
So it's scrolling at the bottom, but it's MelindaJacksonPR.com, at Melinda Jackson PR. All my personal stuff is Melinda Gale. I try to separate it. Some people realize it's the same thing, but some people don't, so that's good. But yeah, Gale, so Melinda Gale. You can expect a completely different content on that, but
content.
But it's fine. I'll get my reality show one day. So
if you get a reality show, I want to be on it.
Yeah, girl. We'll come to the blog cabin. We'll go to the sunflower field.
You were one of the people that actually wrote something that's embedded in the walls of the blog.
Yes.
I remember that.
I love that. It makes me happy.
Yeah. So Melinda, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everyone.